Navigating the U.S. immigration system can feel like running a marathon, right? It's a huge, long-term project. But what happens if you suddenly need to leave the country while you're right in the middle of it? Well, you can't just pack a bag and go. You actually need a permission slip. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Form I-131, the official application for that all-important permission slip.
So let's just pause for a second and make this personal. Are you, or maybe someone you know, thinking about leaving the United States, even for a little while? Maybe for a wedding, a family emergency, a big work trip, anything like that?
If the answer is yes, then you really need to listen closely. Because if you leave the country without the right paperwork, the U.S. government can see that as you abandoning your immigration status or even your pending application. Seriously, the door to your American dream could literally lock behind you. The stakes are just incredibly high.
But, and this is the good news, there is a key to make sure that door stays wide open. And that key is understanding and correctly filing this one crucial form. So what is Form I-131 at its heart? Well, think of it as your formal way of telling the government, hey, I need to leave for a bit, but I am 100% coming back to continue my journey here. It's the official process that protects your place in line.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. This form isn't just for one single document. It's more like a master application that can get you one of 3 very different documents. Think of it like a key ring with 3 different keys, each one designed for a very specific lock. Which one you need? Well, that depends entirely on who you are in the immigration process.
And that is the absolute most important question you have to answer. Are you a lawful permanent resident? A green card holder. Are you in the middle of applying for that status? Or maybe you're here as a refugee or asylee. Your answer to that question changes everything.
Okay, let's break down this chart. So first up, we've got the re-entry permit. This is for green card holders who know they're going to be outside the U.S. for more than a year. Next, there's advanced parole. Now, this one is an absolute must-have for anyone with a pending green card application. That's the Form I-45. And finally, there's the refugee travel document. This basically works like a passport for asylees and refugees who can't or shouldn't use a passport from their home country.
All right, so you figured out which key you need? Awesome. But now what? How do you actually file for it? It might seem a little intimidating, but trust me, it's a clear, manageable process if you take it one step at a time. So, here's the 6-step journey. First, you confirm you're eligible. Easy enough. Second, and this is super important, you have to go to the official USCIS.gov website and download the latest version of the form. If you use an old one, it's an automatic rejection. Third, you gather all your proof, like a copy of your green card or your asylum grant. Fourth, you file the form with the right fee, and please double-check the mailing address, it can change. Fifth, you'll go to a biometrics appointment for fingerprints and a photo. And last, step 6, you wait, and you track your case online.
Now, theory is one thing, but to make this all crystal clear, let's see how this stuff actually works in the real world. We're going to follow the stories of 3 different people, each one facing a totally unique travel problem.
First up, let's meet Anjali. She's a lawful permanent resident. She has her green card. But her mother back in India is very sick, and Anjali needs to go home to be her main caregiver for what might be up to 15 months.
You can just feel the stress in that, can't you? Anjali's stuck. The rule is pretty clear. If you're a green card holder and you're gone for over a year, immigration can decide you've abandoned your U.S. residency. So she's caught between her family duties and the life she's built here. Her solution is the re-entry permit. By filing Form I-131 before she leaves the U.S., she gets a document that basically pre-approves her long trip. It's powerful evidence for the border officer when she comes back that she never, ever intended to give up her residency.
Okay, next, let's look at Carlos. His company is sponsoring his green card, and his main application, the I-485, is in the processing pipeline. Now, his boss comes to him and says he needs him to go to a huge 1-week conference in Germany. Now, what Carlos needs to know is that the law here is incredibly strict. It's not a maybe, it's not a warning. If you have a pending I-485 and you leave the U.S. for any reason, even for an afternoon, your application is considered automatically abandoned. It's just game over.
So his key is something called advance parole. This document is the specific, explicit permission he needs to leave and come back while his green card application is still being processed. It keeps his application safe and lets him do his job.
A lot of times, this comes on what they call a combo card, along with work permit.
And for our final story, meet Fatima. She was granted asylum here in the U.S. after fleeing Syria. Now, she loved to visit her sister, who was able to resettle in Sweden.
Fatima's problem is totally different. As an asylee, if she uses a passport from Syria, the very country she fled from, it can be seen as her asking for protection from that country again. It's a legal concept called reavailment, and it could put her entire asylum status in the U.S. at risk.
And this is exactly why the refugee travel document was created. Fatima can apply for this blue, passport-like booklet. It's recognized by countries all over the world, and it allows her to travel internationally, safely, and legally without ever having to interact with the Syrian government. So we've seen the what, the how, and the who. But let's be real, the process isn't always smooth, and it's constantly changing. The single biggest challenge right now? Time. Processing delays at USCIS are just extreme. Waiting over a year is now pretty common. For someone like Anjali, that could mean not getting to her sick mother in time. For Carlos, it could mean missing a huge career opportunity. The uncertainty it creates is just brutal. And, beyond just the delays, Form I-131 is right at the heart of some really big policy debates. Everything from using humanitarian parole for people fleeing conflict zones, to the constantly shifting rules for DACA recipients, where advanced parole can be a life-changing opportunity. But, looking forward, there is some hope. Change is coming, slowly but surely. USCIS is expanding online filing options, they're starting to reuse biometrics to cut down on appointments, and the whole world is moving towards digital credentials anyway. Which really leaves us with a final question to think about. In a world of digital passports and mobile boarding passes, how long is it really going to be before this critical permission slip, this key to keeping your American dream alive, exists entirely on your phone? It's a question that could change everything about travel for millions in the years ahead.